Welcome back, everyone. I am the Restior, and this is Arkham Horror the card game. We are doing the Circle Undone, and we'll be doing Scenario 0, which is the Disappearance at the Twilight Estate. Alright, so first we'll actually read the intro here. We got Death is only the beginning, the hidden cults to which these witches belonged, often guarded and handed down surprising secrets from elder forgotten aeons, and it was by no means impossible that Kezia had actually mastered the art of passing through dimensional gates. Alright, so additional rules that this campaign introduces. They introduce Haunted. What Haunted does is if a location has the Haunted, if a card at your location has a Haunted effect and you fail an investigation check, it will trigger those Haunted effects. So unfortunately, this is like a, you can almost consider it like either alert or what do you call it? Retaliation or retaliate, but for investigation. This tends to just punish characters who are flexes and not primary cloovers. But still, there's always that situation where your primary clover also gets an autofail and triggers all sorts of bad options. Speaking of alert, it is being introduced in this, where if you fail a evasion check, it will essentially function just like retaliate, where the enemy will attack you. Unlike retaliate, actually I believe retaliate also does this, but even if the enemy is not engaged with you, if you fail to evade, they will still attack you. Now, if they're exhausted and you fail an evade, then it doesn't. Then some stuff about story cards, which are just things that get added in. And then for this one, for Scenario 0, it's going to mention Prologue Investigators, which are just extra investigators that you'll be playing as temporarily. Let's go ahead and set the difficulty. So since beyond, what do you call it, Path of Carcosa, easy difficulty starts including a -3, which means now even my usual trick of just being too higher than the test tends to not be enough. It also lets you know to not go ahead and choose investigators or assemble investigator decks yet, to do the prologue first. This is actually really good advice, and I wish all the campaigns had a Scenario 0. I do understand most people just do this once and then never do it again, and that's completely fine. But having a Scenario 0 is a great way to introduce not the campaign, kind of the direction the campaign's going, like what sort of effects to expect from the mythos, introduce the new gameplay mechanics, as well as use it as an opportunity to, with the temporary investigators, show off their new cards and be like, hey, this is some of the stuff you can play around with, and go from there. Unfortunately, as far as I know, this is the only Scenario 0 that's been thrown out there as far as the campaigns are concerned. Still, yeah, it's I like it, and I wish they had done it more. Anyway, it's Prologue, Scenario 0, Disappearance at the Twilight Estate. Sunday, November 22nd, 1925, Arkham, Massachusetts. Though All Hallows' Eve is nearly a month past, a grim melancholy lingers throughout the town. Each morning, a thick fog permeates the streets. Nights are beginning to grow longer, and if you ask around town, you'll hear people swear that it's getting darker too. But despite the gloomy mood, progress continues in the sleepy town of Arkham. The election of Nathaniel Rhodes to the United States Senate has upstanding members of the community feeling optimistic about the town's future. And tonight, at his well-appointed estate in French Hill, a man named Joseph Meiger hosts the Silver Twilight Lodge's Charity Gala, an annual members-only event that will turn deadly for several attendees. Each player must choose one of the following neutral investigators to control for the duration of this prologue: Gabriella Mizra, Jerome Davids, Penny White, or Valentina Rivas. Throughout this prologue, you will play through this character's story and make choices that will determine their fate. Your choice of investigator has no direct effect on your standard investigator deck, though the result of the prologue will influence the story. Do not assemble any investigator deck for any of the neutral investigators. Instead, gather the cards listed on the reverse side. These cards will be used in that investigator's unique setup. If there are 3 or fewer players in the campaign log in the missing person section, campaign log, cross off the profiles of any of the neutral investigators who are not chosen. Alright, so I'm going with Gabrielle Mizra and Penny White, which I'll read up on in a second. So crossed off. Well, we don't have a spot for that, but crossed off, and it was Valentino, Rivas, and who was the other one? I'll lock that. There we go. The other one was Jerome Davids. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and read up on Gabrielle. I've already done some of the setup. So we got private security, 3 will, 2 intelligence, 4 fight, 1 agility. She's a veteran. She has 8 health, 4 sanity. As a reaction after an enemy attacks you, even if that attack was cancelled, discover 1 clue at your location. Limit once per round. As an Elder Sign effect, you get +1 and you heal 1 damage and 1 horror, which is an amazing Elder Sign effect. Alright, on the opposite side, we have you begin in play in the Victorian Halls. You place 1 damage on the Spectral Watcher. Search the gather cards for 1 copy of Fate of All Fools and put it into play in your threat area. You begin with 1 resource instead of 5. In your starting play area, you start with a 45 automatic with 2 ammo tokens remaining and a physical training. Your opening hand consists of First Aid, Guard Dog, Evidence, Dodge, Extra Ammunition, 2 copies of Delay the Inevitable. A former member of the Haganah, Gabrielle Mizra, now works private security for wealthy homeowners. Yosef Meiger, a man who takes his confidentiality quite seriously, has retained Gabrielle to make sure there are no problems during tonight's event, but even she is not prepared for what is to come. Alright, so, as mentioned, we have 2 delayed inevitables, an extra ammunition, a dodge, evidence, a guard dog, and first aid. So the Fate of All Fools is a peril card. You must decide if there are no other copies of Fate of All Fools in the play area. You must put Fate of All Fools into your play in your threat area. And then afterwards, if you draw another one, or someone draws another one, an investigator with another copy can take 2 damage, or you can place a Doom on another copy of Fate of All Fools. All right. And let's see. So yeah, as for what she has in hand, let's see. So we got the 45 automatic, which we're familiar with, I believe. Actually, I don't know if we've used one. Yeah, we might have not used one already yet. This is actually one of the common Guardian cards for a weapon. But it's a weapon, firearm, usually has 4 ammo, and then you, as an action, you can spend an ammo to get +1 fight and +1 damage. It's also one-handed. Physical training is just a talent, I believe. Yeah, we've seen physical training with Jenny on Night of the Zealot, so still the same as always. First aid, it's a 2-cost asset. That's talent science. Uses 3 supplies. If there are no supplies, you can discard it, or you have to discard it. As an action, you can spend 1 supply to heal 1 damage or 1 horror from an investigator at your location. Guard dog, 3-cost ally with 3 health, 1 sanity. Fiercely loyal, these trained canines make for perfect companions. As a reaction, if an enemy attack deals damage to guard dog, keyword is damage, not horror, you deal 1 damage to the attacking enemy. This will trigger even if the damage did kill the guard dog. Evidence, just as I suspected. It's an event, 1 cost, fast, play after you defeat an enemy, you discover 1 clue at your location. Dodge, we are familiar with that one. Extra ammunition, it's a level 1 Guardian card, costs 2. It's a 2-cost event. It's a supply card. Place 3 ammo tokens on a firearm asset controlled by an investigator at your location. I've never met a beast that could outsmart a bullet. And then we have Delayed the Inevitables, which we are already familiar with. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at Penny White. Oh, actually, first I need to place her. She's up in the Victorian Halls. I believe that's where she starts. Yep, begin play in Victorian Halls. Got it. Alright, Penny White. Joseph's a housekeeper. She's an assistant. 4 will, 1 intelligence, 3 fights, and 2 agility. As a reaction, after you succeed at a skill test during a revelation effect, discover 1 clue at your location. Limit once per round. An Elder Sign effect is +1, and if this is a skill test during a revelation effect, you may take an additional action during your next turn. 7 health, 5 sanity. Yeah, wish we had more Elder Signs that did things like this. This is amazing. Anyway, you begin play at the balcony. So let's go ahead and put her over there before I forget. Up in the balcony. Alright. You will start with a Wraith and 1 copy of Whispers in the Dark. So we have a Wraith here. Wraiths are Monster Geist Spectral, 2 fight, 2 health, 2 agility, Hunter, and when Wraith is defeated by damage except by a spell or relic, instead of discarding it, attach it to its location, and the attached location gains Haunted, spawn Wraith at this location, and it does 2 horror. So this thing has a way of coming back if you're not careful. Also, up here we have the Whispers in the Dark. Omen Spectral, put Whispers in the Dark into play next to the Agenda deck. Each location gains Haunted, take 1 horror. Forced, when the round ends, discard Whispers in the Dark. So right now all the locations have Haunted no matter what. Hush Child, it will all be over soon. Alright. Besides that, let's see. So spawn the Wraith engaged with you, and then you begin with 2 resources instead of 5. And then she starts in play with Dig Deep, Knife, Flashlight with only 2 supplies remaining, and then in her opening hand she has Stray Cat, Lucky, Knife, Flashlight, 2 copies of Act of Desperation, and 2 copies of Able Body. Penny White is the Migra Estate's head housekeeper. She has been working in the Migra Estate for several years. Though she has only spoken with Yosef a few times, his overly fastidious nature has kept her quite busy. Tonight she is tasked with keeping the manor spotless, the food hot, and the hooch flowing. Alright, so we got Flashlight here. Item tool, 2-cost asset. It's neutral, goes in 1 hand, has 3 supplies usually, and then as an action, spend 1 supply, investigate your location, gets -2 shroud for this investigation. So what's nice about things that reduce the skill value, skill requirement, rather than increase your stats, is if you can ever reduce something down to a 0, it means you will automatically pass no matter what negative you draw, as long as it's not the autofail. So there's definitely a lot of unique things you can do with things like Flashlight. It's also a very flexible card because it's neutral, so you can really put it on anyone. Like I said, if it's a 2-shroud location, a Flashlight ensures that anyone that has it can investigate that location. We got Knife here, which is a 1-cost asset, item, weapon, melee, one-handed. As a fight, you get +1 fight for that attack. And then as an action, you can also discard Knife, in which case you get +2 fight and it does an extra damage. Obviously, this is generally something you will upgrade out of if you have this in your deck, but honestly, the best advice I've seen about this card is to treat it like a spell, like it's a one-shot spell in your hand, because that's pretty much what it is. You use it to be like, alright, I just need to kill something real quick, and just throw it at them. Dig Deep, very similar to Physical Training, but for different stats. 2-cost talent, asset, and this one will increase your willpower and agility rather than fight and whatever the other one was. I think the Physical Training was fight and will. Anyway, besides all that, her starting hand, of course, mentioned before. Oop, I need to set that. Oh, there we go. So we got Lucky, Stray Cat, a spare Flashlight, 2 Acts of Desperation, Able Body, and a Knife, and another Able Body. Alright, we're familiar with Lucky already. That was what we had on Minty Fan and the Path of Carcosa. Stray Cat is a 1-cost ally asset, ally creature. As a reaction, you can as a lightning bolt, you can discard Stray Cat to automatically evade a non-elite at your location. He never came if you called for him. It always seemed like he had his own agenda. He only has 1 health soak, and that's it. But he is very good if you ever need to evade something, I suppose. We already know about Flashlight, know about Knife. Act of Desperation is a 0-cost survivor event, tactic gambit. As an additional cost to play Act of Desperation, choose and discard an item asset that takes up at least 1 hand slot from your hand or play area. And then you get to fight plus X and deal +1 damage for this attack, where X is the chosen asset's printed resource cost. If you succeed and that asset was in your play area, you will gain resources. So, for example, the Flashlight, if you run out of supplies, it still stays out in play, and then you can just use this to get essentially +2 fight and 2 resources and +1 damage. So essentially, you throw your Flashlight at something. Alright, and then we got Able Body, which is a survivor skill. While you control 2 or fewer item assets, Able Body gets +1 fight and +1 agility. While you control 1 or fewer item assets, Able Body gets 2 fight and 2 agility. So right now we actually have 2 items in play, so this is providing 2 fight and 2 agility. If we happen to get rid of one of these items, either by throwing the Knife or throwing the Flashlight, It'll become 3 fight and 3 agility. And there you go. So those are the 2 investigators we'll be playing around with. And give me one moment. Alright, so let's continue. Intro. Ladies and gentlemen, Yosef Meiger announces, raising a glass of champagne and a toast. A hush descends on the room until only the crackle of the fireplace and whispers of gossip can be heard. Allow me to welcome you all into my home for this year's charity gala. We have some very upstanding citizens here tonight, and I thank all of you for your hard work and generosity. Cheers and murmurs of agreement fill the room. Many of the guests raise their glasses to Valentino, one of the most esteemed members of the lodge this year, who sits at the guest of honor table, which is nearest to the fireplace. Yosef's assistant, Jerome, blends into the wall behind Yosef, discreetly checking his pocket watch. In another corner of the room, the head housekeeper, Penny, walks from table to table, filling empty glasses and collecting dirty salad plates. Each of you has done great deeds in the name of the Silver Twilight Lodge and our historic city. Yosef continues, next year, we will continue to shoulder this burden and do what must be done for the sake of progress. Jerome steps forward quietly, interrupting Yosef's speech with the unassuming confidence that comes from years of trusted service. He taps Yosef lightly on his shoulder and shows him the time. I'm afraid I'm already out of time. Thank you all very much for attending. Yosef concludes, bowing. Polite applause rises from the audience, and Yosef walks briskly toward the parlor, followed closely by his assistant. 2 servants collect coats as latecomers trickle into the manor, and Gabriella, Yosef's head of security, watches over the entrance with hard eyes and a clenched jaw. Has Mr. Sanford arrived? Yosef asks curtly, tapping his polished leather shoe on the floor. I'm afraid not, Jerome replies, flipping through the last pages of the estate's guest book. But he should be here any minute, Mr. Meiger. Good. I want there to be no problems whatsoever when he arrives. Am I understood? Yosef calls out to Gabriella. Make sure he is well protected. Gabriella nods, patting the handle of her .45 in her shoulder holster. Yosef turns his attention back to his assistant, and have Penny make sure the main course is kept good and hot while we wait for Mr. Sanford's arrival. Not a single slice is to be served without his presence. Not even for Mr. Rivas, sir? Jerome asks, glancing at Yosef over the rim of his thick glasses. Yosef pauses for a moment, considering. Pour Mr. Rivas another glass of champagne, and I'm sure he will not complain. Also, I'm still waiting on those accounts I asked you about earlier today. Don't forget, Yosef says, clapping his assistant on the shoulder before walking back into the banquet hall. Jerome nods obediently and heads upstairs. Soon after, dark mist would appear, and nothing would be the same. One at a time, each player must proceed to the intro for their chosen character and read their section aloud. Do not read any intro for a character not chosen by a player. Once each player has read their character's intro, proceed to the setup. Gabriella. You stand guard as instructed, waiting for Mr. Sanford to appear. By now, the remaining guests have filed into the banquet hall, and you can hear the sounds of merriment and drinking coming from beyond the wooden door behind you. You pay them no mind, remaining vigilant. Years of fighting and discipline have taught you to be ready for anything, even at a harmless banquet like this. Just as you begin to ponder whether your talents are being wasted under Mr. Meiger's employ, a dark mist invades the parlor through the front door and the window frames, flooding the room. At first you believe it to be only the evening fog seeping through the manor's entryway, until you begin to notice that everything the mist touches seems to have decayed as though aged hundreds of years. You step back cautiously, keeping a hand on the grip of your weapon, just in case. Never in all your years have you seen something like this. An unnatural chill spreads throughout the room, and shivers run up your spine. As the ashen mist finishes pouring in, it coalesces into a singular form, a humanoid figure wrapped in shadows. It raises its hand and points at you with a charred, blackened finger. You unholster your firearm and pointing at the creature, allowing your training to take over. Don't come any closer, you shout. The thing watching you from the entrance is unfazed. Its ethereal form begins to glide towards you, dark mist crawling over the carpet in its wake. I warned you, you growl, and a thunderous shot echoes through the parlor as you squeeze the trigger. The bullet rips a hole in the figure's head like a rush of air billowing through a column of smoke. The mist stitches itself together, and the thing continues to drift your way, reaching out menacingly. Nothing could have prepared you for the combat with such an unnatural enemy. Faced with no other option, you turn and flee up the staircase nearby, pausing to squeeze off several more shots at the top. The bullets that make their targets simply pass harmlessly through the ghostly figure, striking the door behind it. A few stray shots shatter a column of the staircase's wooden balustrade. Alright, and then we have Penny. You sigh as the cool New England air embraces you. It has been a very stressful night. Stressful enough that you decided to sneak away from the clamor to grab a quick smoke before heading back to work. You rest your arms along the metal railing of the balcony, your fingers trembling as they hold your cigarette. The Jerry Gambro rooftops and the Victorian manners of French Hill span the view below you, the unlit windows hiding countless secrets. You can't remember a night in which your employer was as concerned with every little detail as he is tonight. He is normally so calm, so collected. There's something special about tonight that has him on edge. Is it Mr. Sanford? A shudder crawls through you. For some reason, something about that man gives you the creeps. But Yosef has interacted with Mr. Sanford many times before, so that cannot be the reason. What could it be that has Mr. Miger so worried? You are torn from your thoughts by the gathering of gray clouds overhead, swiftly blotting out the night sky. As the clouds grow ever closer, you begin to see shapes emerging from the vapor. You squint and lean over the railing for a better view. That is when you notice the true forms of the shapes in the mist, their screaming faces, their clawing hands, all writhing in torment and coming straight for you. You cry out in terror and back up against the wall as the mist envelops the building. A spectral shape emerges from the haze beyond the railing, dressed in blood-stained rags. It begs for rest in a croaking, gasping voice. Your only hope for escape is to retreat back to the manor and call for help. All right. And then we go straight to setup. Let's see. Only use the 7 spectral locations of the encounter set. Do not gather other things. Place the spectral locations in a play. Spawn the spectral watcher in the entry hall. Do the special stuff for your investigators, and that's it. No way out. There is no positive resolution for this scenario. Investigators should strive to last as long as they can and gather as many clues as they can before their inevitable demise. Note that while cards can still be added to the victory display during this scenario, experience and victory points will not be gathered for this scenario. Since these investigators do not have decks, ignore any instructions or effects that would cause them to draw cards or interact with player decks. Additionally, since these investigators do not have discard piles, each player card that would be placed in their discard pile is removed from the game instead. Good luck, you'll need it. Well, there's not really luck, we're going to lose. Alright, we're going to shuffle the encounter deck. Agenda 1A, Judgment. Judgment 20. There is no escaping fate. Hear the call and be reborn. Forced. After Doom is placed on any card, each investigator must either take 1 damage or 1 horror. 2 damage or 2 horror instead if there is 5 or more Doom in play. Forced. When any investigator is defeated, the investigator must advance this agenda. Do not remove any Doom from this agenda when it advances. The Disappearance. Something terrible has invaded the home of Yosef Miger. In the moments that follow, you scramble to survive. When an investigator is eliminated, place each of that investigator's clues on this act instead of his or her location. Discover as many clues as you can before the inevitable demise. The deck only has oh yeah, we need to set up the pouch. Alright, setting the easy difficulty. Alright, there are only skull tokens, -3 if you fail and this is an attack or an evasion attempt. Resolve each haunted ability on your location. So this is another way to trigger haunted. Alright, and with that, we start at the Victorian halls with, what's-her-face? Gabriella. And of course we got the Spectral Watcher, so let's actually read that first. The Spectral Watcher, you are its prey. Ancient one, Spectral Elite. It has 3 fight, 5 health, 3 agility, alert, and hunter. So it reacts to both evasions and attacks. Or no, sorry. It hunts you down and it can counterattack if you fail an evasion attempt. Forced, when the Spectral Watcher is defeated, instead of discarding it, heal all damage from it, disengage it from all investigators, and exhaust it. It does not ready during the upkeep phase this round. There is no escaping fate. It does 1 damage and 1 horror. So it's just kind of a persistent enemy that will gradually try to wear you down. Something to note about the entry hall. It's spectral. The entry hall is blocked by a wall of spectral mist. You cannot enter the entry hall. Silver Twilight enemies cannot spawn in the entry hall. A wall of dark mist blocks your escape, decaying everything it touches. Ghostly hands grasp at you from the mist, desperately trying to pull you in. You suspect that if you tried to cross through the mist, you wouldn't emerge alive. Alright, Victorian halls, spectral. The warm rays that once illuminated these halls have faded into beams of cold, gray moonlight that shine through floating motes of dust and wisp of dark mist. Alright, and then A haunting stillness lingers through the frigid and dead halls. The many paintings that adorn the walls have faded and become unrecognizable, and the many metal statuettes flanking the corridor have completely rushed over. 4 shroud, 0 clues, and it has haunted. You lose 1 action if you investigate here. Balcony. A shattered glass door leads onto the balcony outside the estate's master bedroom. All right. Has 1 shroud, 2 clues, and then if you trigger the haunted effect, you will each of your cards with health takes 1 direct damage. So that includes yourself and includes any of your allies. Also includes armor as well. Clouds of dark mist loom above Fringe Hill. Spectral shapes surround the balcony, moaning and writhing in torment. And with that, that's it. We can go ahead and get started because we don't have to do any mulligans. So with that, I'm going to put a break here, and then I will continue in just a moment. All right. So our goal here is to try to survive as long as possible and to try to, solve our problems here. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with Penny White. Penny White's first action. I am going to go ahead and just use a color here because this is just too hard to track. We'll try Survivor. There we go. Yeah, having a gray token that just turns into a different gray token was not very helpful. All right. So for my first action, I'm going to go ahead and throw the knife. It's going to be 2 fight, plus 2 fight, and plus 1 damage. This will put me at 5 fight versus 2 fight. Success, thank you, -3. So it does 2 damage. It will kill it. And we'll just keep track of this thing by putting an X on it. So it is out of play for now. Or sorry, it's attached to the location right now. And if we trigger the haunted effect, it'll spawn this thing. All right, second action. We'll go ahead and do some. We'll do some Cloven, I think. Actually, I won't do Cloven yet. I'm going to spend a resource to get out the other knife. And then my last action, I will go ahead and investigate using the flashlight. So -2 shrouds, so it's now 0 to 1 here. Yeah, as long as it wasn't an auto-fail, we will get the clue here. All right, first clue. Okay, Gabriella, we'll go ahead and just make her guardian, because that makes sense. All right. So we got this guy. He is Hunter, so he's going to try to pursue us here. There's not too much we can do about it. I'm going to go ahead and spend an action to move over here to the trophy room. Flanking this door are 2 rotting deer heads mounted on the wall. They stare at you with hollow, dead eyes. All right. This location has 2 shroud, 2 clues. Haunted, lose 2 resources. For each resource you cannot lose from this effect, take 1 horror. Rotting animal heads adorn this room's wood panel walls, once a display of power and sovereignty, now macabre displays of death and decay. You cannot help but feel their empty eyes drill through you as you explore the room. So we're going to go ahead and move here. And we have 2 book, which is honestly not too fantastic. I think my remaining actions, so I have 2 actions remaining. I'm going to go ahead and spend those 2 actions to go ahead and just get some resources. All right. And then we'll go ahead and dive into enemy phase. This thing's gone. This thing's going to move up 1. Go to upkeep. So upkeep, there's literally nothing we need to worry about besides just getting a resource. Okay, so it doesn't yeah, so one thing to note is cards are not put in the discard. They are just removed from play, so we do need to keep track of that. There we go. All right, Mythos. So we did, at the end of the round, discard Whisper of the Dark. So this gets discarded. Okay. So anytime Doom is placed on any card that includes the agenda, we choose to take 1 damage or 1 horror. Both characters are just going to take 1 damage. All right. Next, we go with the encounter deck. Obscuring Fog. Attach to your location. Limit once per location. Okay, so now this place has 4 Shroud. And then this effect if there's no other copies of that, or we could take 1 Doom. So either way, we're going to be taking 2 damage at this point. So yeah, I'll go ahead and just have Gabriella take 2 damage. And then that gets discarded. Okay. Alright, goes to Gabriella's turn. I'm going to spend 1 action to go ahead and get out first aid. Actually, we can fast out this, can't we? Yeah, we can. Alright, so after an enemy attacks you, even if it's cancelled. Okay. Let's go ahead and spend an action to move again. Billiards room. Spectral, from outside this room, you can hear the creaking of old wood and the patter of footsteps along the ground. Alright, billiards room. You must either discard an asset or take 1 damage. 3 shroud, 2 clues. Has victory 1, but it doesn't matter. We don't get experience here. The game room's warmth and laughter have been replaced with a sense of quiet dread. Tendrils of black mist slither from underneath the collapsed billiard table, twisting and swaying along the floor in a formless dance. So we'll go ahead and move there. Next, we'll go ahead and spend 3 resources to go ahead and get out our guard dog. And my last action, I'm going to go ahead and just gain a resource again. Alright, Penny will go next. Penny will go ahead and spend an action to investigate using the flashlight. I'll just see how strong I am. Alright. So yeah, 1 to 0. We pass. And this is not a revelation effect, so it doesn't matter. Okay, we'll get the clue here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get out a stray cat. And I'm going to go ahead and just gain a resource for now. Because this guy's going to come at us. Alright, so the question is who do I want this to come after? We'll go ahead and have him mosey on this way. Alright, and then upkeep. Each of them are just going to get a resource here. Okay. Mythos, we're up to 2. Again, we're going to have to choose. At this point, I will... yeah, at this point I'll take a damage. Penny will also take a damage. Alright. Counter cards. Test foot 3. For each point you fail by, take 1 damage. If your location is haunted, as an additional cost for an investigator to commit 1 or more skill cards to this test, he or she must resolve each haunted ability on this location. Alright, well, I have 1 foot. And not much we can do about that. So here goes nothing. 1 to 3. Oh my god. So I do fail by 1, but I do still trigger the Elder Sign effect. So I heal 1 damage and 1 horror. So I'll heal a damage, and then I'll take a damage. That is as good as that was going to get. Alright. Alright. And then for you, Terror in the Night. Test Brain 4. If you fail, put Terror of the Night into play next to the agenda deck. If you fail by 3 or more, it gains Surge. Okay. And if the way this works is if there's ever 3 copies next to the agenda deck, you discard all of them, and then everyone takes the horror as a result. So, I'm currently 4 Brain. I have 2 items in play. So I will spend a resource to get +1 with Dig Deep. You know what? Actually, I will spend all 3. So that'll get us 7 versus 4. And we pass. Also, I should hit the upkeep button because it flips these over. Alright, pass the check. We're good to go. It's honestly not bad by itself because it until you get 3 of them, it doesn't do anything besides possibly surging. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and go to, we'll start with Gabriella. First action, we're going to go ahead and get out the first aid. Next action, I want to go ahead and gain a resource. And then the last one, we're going to go ahead and get out the delay the inevitable. All right. Should be safe with that. Let's go ahead and also, how high does this go? Okay, when it has 5 doom. All right, and then for Penny, I'm going to go ahead and spend an action to move. And say hi to this location. Master bedroom. This unmarked door is old and partially rotted. Set in a quiet corner of the upstairs hallway, a thick and dark fog seeps beneath the door and wafts under your feet. All right, has 3 shroud and has 2 clues. Haunted, place one of your clues on the master bedroom. Tendrils of black mist have invaded every corner of this room from the open balcony doorway, causing the furniture to decay and collapse. Every piece of wood and glass is shattered and warped. Nothing is untouched. Alright, this haunted effect is actually kind of nasty. And there are other ways to have haunted triggered, so I'm going to go ahead and just haul butt and get away from this spot. So I'm going to spend 2 actions and go up to the office. The lone door atop the 2nd floor staircase has rotted and decayed as though hundreds of years have passed. The once polished oak is now stained and warped. It could collapse at any moment. Alright, this location has 4 shroud. And the haunted effect is choose and discard a card from your hand, which is actually pretty dangerous here because we don't have a deck. 4 clues, 4 shroud, 2 victory. A thick and oppressive haze fills what was once an impressive office. Cracks fork up and down the wooden paneling of the walls, and the bookshelves surrounding Yosef's desk sag with the weight of rotten, decayed books. Alright, and that is everything. Enemy's going to come up and say hi and attack her. It will engage. And then attack. I'm going to go ahead and use the delay the inevitable to take no damage whatsoever. And this will trigger her effect to get a clue from this location. Alright. And let's see. Alright, we can work with that. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and do upkeep. Oops, sorry, you do not go there. Alright, upkeep for you. And this is Mythos again. So another clue, so another damage. This time I will take 1 horror, and Penny will take a horror as well. Alright, Mythos. Put Realm Torment into play in your threat area. When your turn begins, resolve each haunted ability on your location. Okie dokie. And then when your turn ends, you can test Will 3. If you succeed, discard Realm of Torment. So that's actually pretty bad, because this location... Okay, I could choose to take a damage. I will happily take a damage. Alright, and then for yours, Whispers in the Dark. Now everything has that horror effect. Okay, not a big deal. So the issue with Penny is I'm not getting the times I've gotten like an actual skill test on the Revelation effect, it's been on locations where I didn't have clues. So it is what it is, unfortunately. Alright, so with all that, let's go ahead and start with the Spectral Watcher here. We got a few ways we can handle this, but I think I'm just... Oh, first I have to trigger the effect of the Haunted, so I will take 1 damage, like so. And then we are going to fight the Spectral Watcher. We currently have 4 fights. We can make it 5 fight with the gun. So 5 to 3. That's a fail. 5 to 3. That's also a fail. Okay. Don't really have much I can do about that. I'll just do a regular punch. 4 to 3. Alright, we at least did 1 damage. Yeah, our Cluven's not been very good. Okay. Let's go ahead and go. We can have Penny go. Unfortunately, she hasn't had much luck with what she was trying to do. Well, the big thing is she hasn't been able to get any enemies either. So I'm just gonna get some resources, and because I want an enemy so I can throw the flashlight, and that'll help me out a lot. Actually, I will move back to. Actually, it's actually all bad. You know what? I'll just stay here. That's fine. Okay, enemy phase. The Watcher is going to attack me. I'm going to go ahead and have the guard dog take a damage and trigger to give it 1 damage in return. She'll take 1 horror, and then she will, of course, use her ability to get a clue from this location. Okay. And then that is all the enemies. Goes to upkeep. Mythos, we're not going to each take 1 and 1. Not much I can do about that. I'm going to put 1 damage on the guard dog. And you can just take a damage. Alright, Oh, I need to do a brain 3 test at the end of her turn. Yeah, we'll just do 3 and 3 and hope for the best. I actually passed it. Cool. Alright, now we'll go ahead and draw. Oh, good, another foot test that's going to inevitably kill me. So 1 to 3. If I get any minuses, this can... Okay, it won't kill me because I have a guard dog. Alright, good luck. Eldritch Sign again. Alright, we take 1 damage and then we heal 1 damage and 1 horror. That is huge. Okay, so that breaks even. Alright, and then yours. Surge. Resolve each haunted ability on your location. Choose a card and discard from your hand. I will discard a... I will discard an able body. And then it surges into a Crypt Chill. Alright, Brain 4. If you fail, choose and discard 1 asset you control. If you cannot, take 2 damage instead. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and just spend 3 resources to go ahead and get up to 7 to 4. We pass. And since this is a revelation effect, I can go ahead and get a clue from this location. There we go. Made some progress here. Okay. So, we're going to go ahead and... We got the clues here, so we're good on that front. Let's go ahead and... Unfortunately, we just need to take out this guy. 4 to 3. Okay. 4 to 3. Alright. So, instead of killing him, he's just going to get... He's exhausted, heal everything, disengages, and does not upkeep this phase. So we'll just show this as a note for that. And her last action, we're going to go ahead and move to this location. And then I'm going to spend 2 resources to go ahead and get out Delay the Inevitable as a fast action. Okay. Because we're about to hit 5 Doom, and things are going to get worse. Okay. For Penny White here, she's probably just going to continue to hang out. Yep. She's doing what she needs to do. So spend 3, get 3 actions to get 3 resources, and continue to hang out. All right. So does not ready on this upkeep phase. So upkeep phase, remove this, and then Mythos. Alright, so 5 Doom, so now we're going to be taking either 2 damage or 2 horror. Whatever I picked, I'm going to go ahead and use Delay the Inevitable to soak it. And then in the case of Penny, she'll just take two horror. Okay. And then draw this. Okay, engages with me. Draw this. Lowest foot, Hunter retaliates. After Shadowhounds attack you, resolve the hunted ability. Okie dokie. So, 2 fight, 3 health, 1 agility. Hunter retaliates. The spectral mist coalesces into an incorporeal canine form. Hungry eyes shine from the darkness. It does 1 damage. Cool. Alright. Okay. Well, we can make this work. I'm going to go ahead and start with Penny White here. I'm going to use Act of Desperation and discard the flashlight. So this will be 5 to 2. We succeed, and we'll do 2 damage. We'll also gain 2 resources thanks to the flashlight. Alright, next I'm going to go ahead and stab it with the knife. Oh, did I forget to hit upkeep? I did. Alright, that was our first action. Second action is going to attack with the knife, so 4 to 2. It's a fail. It's a fight action, so it does trigger the haunt. Which is going to make me discard a card from hand, so I'll use Able Body. Okay, last I'm going to go ahead and attack again. Alright, that takes care of the Shadowhound. Okie dokie. Next we have Gabriella here. Unfortunately, I don't have the actions to spare to get the extra ammunition right now, so I'm just going to fight. 4 to 2. We pass. 4 to 2. We pass, and this gets put here. With X marks a spot. Okay. Okay. Then for my last action, I'm going to go ahead and use one of my first aids to heal. Oh, also, I'll go ahead and fast out the evidence to get a clue from this location. Alright, so far 6 clues. Not making much progress on that front, unfortunately. Alright. Then it goes enemy phase. This is going to ready. Then we do upkeep. Upkeep. And then Mythos, 2 damage or 2 horror. Gabrielle will take 2 damage. And Penny will take 2 damage as well. Alright. Counter. Another Shadowhound. And Fate of All Fools. We can either place a Doom, which is not going to save us, or do 2 direct damage, which will kill Gabriella. Not much I can do about that. The other option is we can have everyone take potential horror instead. But then we'll pretty much die next round. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put a Doom on this, and we'll see how it plays out. So 2 horror. It's going to kill her. Never mind, you're on your own. Alright, so Gabrielle's going to be deaded, which is going to make this go here. You go away. This goes away. And we can go ahead and resolve all this. Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't get her opportunity to actually use the first aid to buy time. And she doesn't have good foot, so she can't evade. Alright, so these are going to get put on here. And, oh, this should have gone away a while ago. Let me check when that horror should have happened. Okay, from what it looks like, it never triggered, so we won't worry about it. Okay, now we have to flip the agenda because somebody died. Your demise. In the missing persons section of the campaign log, next to the character's profile, make a record of that character's fate as follows. Then flip this agenda back over. If you were defeated by the Spectral Watcher's attack, record character's name was taken by the Watcher. If you were defeated by a monster's enemy attack, record character's name was claimed by Spectres. If there was 7 or more Doom in play when this agenda advanced, and you were defeated by horror or damage dealt by the Forced ability on Agenda 1, record character's name disappeared into the mist. And if you are defeated by any other effects, record the character's name was pulled into the Spectral Realm. She was killed by a encounter card, so it's going to be pulled into the Spectral Realm. Okay. Let's make sure I spelled that right. It looks like I did. Gabriella. Okay. And then flip it back over. All right. So goes to Penny. So Penny, you are the last person standing. I'm going to go ahead and spend 2 resources to get out Flashlight. I'm going to go ahead and just gain 2 resources and see how we do. All right. It goes to enemy phase. This is Hunter, so it goes here, and this one will go there. And then, of course, you get an upkeep. And then we get Mythos, we're up to 7. So it's going to have to be damaged. I'll take a damage here, and then a damage on the cat. And then we get a Mythos card. All right, Terror in the Night, 4 brain. I'm going to make it 7 versus 4. Ah, that was an opportunity to get a clue. All right. So at this point, it is now Penny's turn, and she's kind of just going to yellow here. We're going to use the flashlight and investigate. It's going to be 1 to 2. I don't have anything that can actually help with this. All right, that is a fail. I'm going to get the haunted effect. I'm going to get rid of active desperation. Again, 1 to 2. That's a fail. And what's the effect? Card from your hand. All right. Oh, wait, 1 to 2. That was -2, wasn't it? Yeah, that was -2. It still wouldn't pass, right? Get skill value will bring me up to 3. Yeah, it'd still be a fail. So this gets discarded. And then last one. Investigate. And it's a fail. Okay. And then Shadowhound's going to come and smack her. And that will kill her. And she's going to be taken by Spectres. Which is too bad. She almost made it to the pulled into the Spectral Realm, which would have been funny. But it's really hard because obviously the constant damage and horror just adds up. Alright, so with this, yeah, was claimed by Spectres. And that is it. Her clues will be placed on there. Got 6. I don't remember how many I you know what? Actually, that's generally on. That seems to be what I get on average. When I played with my friends, we had 3 we had 3 investigators, and I think we got 9 in total. So, I mean, the big issue is I think only one of the characters actually has good book, and everyone else is relying on other means to actually get the clues in question. So, it is what it is. Anyway, at this point, we go ahead and continue on to no resolution. No resolution was reached because each investigator was defeated. Mr. Sanford, thank you so much for coming. I know you are a busy man. Your presence at tonight's meeting is very much appreciated. Yosef shakes Carl Sanford's hand firmly as he speaks. Sanford merely nods. I know you've only just arrived, but I have some private matters to discuss with you. If that is all right. Yosef continues, his narrow eyes shifting back and forth between the men flanking Mr. Sanford. Very well, the elderly man nods to his two enforcers, who step aside to give him privacy. He cradles his hands behind his back, his stature impressive for his age. His discerning eyes fall on Yusuf. What is the matter? Yusuf leans closer. It's here, sir. It's in this very house. There's a quiet pause between the two men, and then Carl Sanford smiles. No experience is earned for this prologue. In the campaign log, record X pieces of evidence were left behind. X is the total number of clues on Act 1A, the Disappearance. Return each of the player cards used in the scenario into the collection, and then you go through the standard investigation and creation process. All right. 6 evidence. Actually, we'll do 6 evidence. Okay. And with that, we will be moving on to the Witching Hour. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I always like doing this levels scenario 0. It's actually pretty fun. It's generally pretty fast. Obviously, it was a little slow since I was playing by myself. But it's also just kind of stress-free. If you make mistakes, oh well, it's not the end of the world. The evidence does have some influence on a particular scenario, but it's not like a make or break type situation usually. In any case, we'll go ahead and call it here. I am the Depressed Hero. This was Arkham Horror, the card game, The Circle Undone, Disappearance at the Twilight Estate. We will start the official campaign next time.